treat for you guys. Coming live and direct from the studio of Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. We're about to give you guys a treat. We're about to introduce to you the one, the only, Jonathan Moreno, coming all the way out from Massachusetts. I'm talking about he's got not one, not two, not three, not four, not five. We're talking about he's a serial entrepreneur. And if you're checking into this podcast today, you're going to find out what it takes to be successful. How to go from the tip bottom all the way to the titty top. So go on and wait here. I'm about to go ahead and put Jonathan on here, and we're going to go ahead and link up, and y'all are going to have an opportunity to have a treat to be live with Jonathan Moreno and HD Rhodes. She's going to show up. He hasn't showed up yet. And you know, right now I'm just up here listening to music from my favorite Matthew Plant. Come on. You'll see it when it comes here. For the king, sliding on the devil, cause he ain't got no pap. Go ask son. Lucy in a cab, pull out with his sword like a stick, let it down. J-O-N, don't know H-O-H. Hey, this that take him back to summer's time. This that oppress to Jehovah when we hit your blood. There we go. Oh, there he is. Yeah. This that They want to be saved, but don't follow Christ. They live in pain. The L of the godly denying the power. I'm running with Lucy for money and fame. I used to be dead, I'm running the world, but losing my soul with nothing to gain. I called him Jehovah to give me a sign of that very night. Breathing on the camera? Yep. 2024, summertime, it's a hot one. What flame a demon with that heat like it's hot one. Whoa, they don't want to smoke with me. They don't want to the one, the only, Jonathan Moreno. What's going on, boss?
What's going on, my brother, man? How we doing? I saw you was live. I had to jump on.
Oh, man, it is a pleasure. It is a pleasure. Man, I want to go ahead and introduce to the world, y'all are literally have an opportunity right now. You're live with a gentleman who's literally about to show you how to go from zero to make it over $100,000 a month over the next 6 months. He's a serial entrepreneur. This ain't his first rodeo. Man, without further ado, let me introduce you, the one, the only, Jonathan Moreno.
Let's go. HD, thank you. Listen, I appreciate you inviting me on your live. With much due respect, you know, you and my boy Roman, one of my favorite vibers. But I got a quick question. Can you see yourself? Because I can't see you on the screen, but it's okay because I like looking at myself.
And so, you know what? I see both of us on the screen.
That works for me.
Yes, sir. On my cell phone, I see me. But I have a big screen in front of me, and it got both of us.
Okay. I love it. Thank you again. I appreciate it. Thank you for letting me join you live. I love what you're doing. I love the movement. I love, Give Us Freedom, everything that it stands for. And I'm happy to be here to share a little bit of knowledge, experience, and just talk about everyday things that people go through in life and how to basically go from being in the worst position anybody could be in to, being a multiple figure earner, which is, what it's all about.
So tell us your story, man. How did you grow up? How did you get into entrepreneurship?
Awesome. So honestly, it wasn't always a silver spoon for me. I came from not so very humble beginnings, and I'm going to tell you the story that I don't tell, everyone says, what's your why when you're in business and you join companies and you do platforms and programs, and I never tell my why, and I always think like that's a crush for me. Like, I don't like to think about where I came from, but where I came from made me who I am today. I didn't let my surroundings of my childhood stop me from being the Johnny M I am today. So the story that I don't tell people is how I really grew up. Basically, I come from a broken home, and The broken home that I'm speaking about is the ones that people only see on TV, only see on movies. The truth of the matter is that my dad chose the needle before his kids, and my mom was a party animal. So, me and my brothers, we had to house hop a lot. And I've slept on more floors and sofas than, two people can count on their hands by the time I was age 9. I still remember the smell of every single shelter that we've lived in. I still remember, standing by myself at the age of 8, in the line at the soup kitchen so I can eat and not go to sleep hungry, which I did multiple times. I still remember, just going to the park to hang out at 12 and 1 o'clock just to get the free lunch, and that's the story I don't tell because I don't want pity from the world. I don't want people to be like, man, Johnny, you came from a rough background. I came from an extremely rough background where a lot of kids that grew up in my neighborhood are not here today and didn't make it by the age of 18, 17, 15, 16, I'm an 80s baby and I come from the crack era. Believe it or not, it was really, really, really tough. But I'll tell you one thing. There's this one lady in my life, rest in peace. It was my aunt. And my aunt Teresa, she really showed me who God was, moving forward. And that right there kept me focused and knowing that there was somebody there that walked with me when, that phrase, I didn't see your footsteps. I understood at an early age that those weren't even my footsteps, that he was carrying me through these battlefields that I had to walk through as a little boy. So I grew up pretty fast. I've seen things people only see in movies.
I know that's right. So how did that affect you as far as being able to decide to get into entrepreneurship versus street life?
So I was always an entrepreneur, believe it or not. I used to steal change from my grandma to go buy penny candies. I don't know if you guys remember the penny candy with clear with the gums. You see the gum inside? So,
come on.
Yeah, I used to get $100 for $1. Stop playing. And I would sell them at school. So growing up, I was always an entrepreneur, And then I'm from Hoboken, New Jersey. And we used to walk to school. There's no such thing as a bus back then. Like, we have to walk, sleet, hail, snow, rain, flood, swim. Whatever it took to get to school, we had to be there. But there was nothing. So on my way there, I would stop by the candy and then go sell it in school. And then in the afternoon, I would come back and I would stop in front of Frank Sinatra's a restaurant. Well, it was a pub. It was an Italian pub, right? Irish. You had the Italian uptown. You had the Irish downtown. Both mafias ran the whole town, right? So I used to stop and pick up cigarette butts and cigar butts for a penny, right? So I would go, waste my $1 in the morning, get the candy, go to school, come back, stop at the pub, and pick up the cigar butts and the cigarette butts for a penny. And, it went further and further, and we just grew through that. And I always knew that inside was an entrepreneur, And
Absolutely.
Not only that, my grandfather, rest in peace, like, I spent a lot of time with my grandfather, throughout the bouncing from house to house and shelter to shelter and state to state. I never lasted a year in any school, just because I had a rough background, so I was always moving. My grandfather used to always tell me, Johnny, you're mad talented. And one thing he said to me as a little kid, I would never forget. He said, Johnny, you're not only going to change the family, you're the one that's going to make it, and you're going to realize this. He said it to me in Spanish. He said, you're going to realize this, that you will enjoy your money when your money doesn't come from the next man. As a kid, what he was saying, I was like, well, if I don't work for the next man, how am I supposed to get money to enjoy, right?
Come on.
And that's always stuck with me, and I've always had that entrepreneur, always had those ideas, always thought different, always thought outside the box. You know what I mean? Like, okay, this person's creating this. How can we take this and then help 7 more people with it? So I always thought, like, we can get $1 here, but if we take the same concept of this great idea, how can we, multiply it and figure out we can sell this to 7 more people and turn that $1 into $8,
Amen. Come on.
So I've always been an entrepreneur.
What were you doing at first, man? What were you doing to flip that money, man?
What was I doing with excuse? I didn't hear that question.
Yeah, what were you doing to flip that money after you talked to your grandfather? And he broke that part down.
So, after that, to be honest with you, I did get caught up in the streets. I'm not gonna lie, because it's the environment. But I didn't let the environment take my soul. I didn't let the environment get the best of me. I always felt uncomfortable. I always felt uncomfortable there. So I did do the street life.
We've been there.
Yeah, I did invest in the wrong things. And I seen a lot of my friends die, and it was, years went by like that. We were 11, 12, 13 years old, jumping on the PATH train to go to New York City, and then come back, early in the mornings and just wait for my grandma to start making coffee so we can get inside the house. We'd go up the stairs, and sometimes our elevators weren't even working, so we used to have to go up 9 flights of stairs in the projects. Yeah, I come from the big boy projects,
the East Coast projects where it went up, not out.
Yeah. So, so most of that money I made or saved up as a young kid, I blew it doing what everyone thinks it's the way. And if you look out in the streets nowadays, everyone thinks that that's the only way to make money because you have, music feeding that into their head. You got movies, iconic movie like Scarface, that right there. It's a great movie, but it brainwashes people. So everyone chases that dream, right? Everyone chases that dream. And I was chasing that dream as well. So that led to a mess. Yeah, that led to a mess, and then moving forward, I had to go to, and I had to go to Job Corps because I had to get sent to Job Corps. We got into some trouble, and that's where they sent me to Job Corps. And that didn't last because I got kicked out of the Job Corps for gang-related activities anyways. Because I went there with that attitude. They put me in Massachusetts, so I had to get shipped at the age of 16 to Massachusetts to go to a school. And I have that Jersey City fast life mentality. Put me in Massachusetts, and all I see is woods around me. But so I got kicked out. I got kicked out pretty fast. That didn't last there at all. Moving forward, I decided to. I did a little vacation. All right, let me step back a little bit. I did a little vacation time. Right, so I did a little vacation time, and while I was on my vacation, I was reading. And I was reading about.
What were you reading?
I was reading about the financial market. Believe it or not, I was reading about the sexiest thing that I've ever seen in the world, and it was called candlesticks. And for anybody that don't know what candlesticks, those are it's the moving average point per percentage.
I gotta stop you right there for a second. How do you go from moving product on the street to candlesticks? I mean, we have that in common. Well, how did you make that transition?
It was the money. It was the money. It was the money. When you're on vacation, you get to see the news a lot.
Come on.
Yeah, so, I see people talking about, the stock exchange, the market. Back then, when I was on vacation, it was about penny stocks. And I was like, what's this? What's this? We got access to the library. I went and got some books. Warren Buffett, books about Warren Buffett, books about, some great traders. This guy named, his name was FX Viper. This guy, I read about how he made $1 million in an hour. So I'm like, wait a minute, these guys are hustling. These guys are hustling the market. It's the same concept.
He made $1 million in an hour.
He made, FX Viper made $1 million in 1 hour.
Hey man, hey, what's the name of that book and the author again?
I don't remember, but I know the guy that did it. His name was FX Viper. So I was studying these guys like him. I was studying guys like Sotos. Sotos made $10 million off of 10 cents.
Is that some candlestick, dude?
These are all people that trade in either the stock exchange, options, bonds, real estate. So I'm reading about.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, George Soto. George Soto is the guy who made $10 million off of 10 cents. That's his name, George Soto. So after my vacation, I started working at Wendy's, right? And no lie, that's where I met my wife, at Wendy's. I was still following this. I was looking up courses, I was reading, and I went to a $1 Million Man's convention down in Miami, right? So I go down there, I'm at the convention, I'm at the posh hotel, great hotel, infinity pool, top floor. I'm feeling like a king. I'm like, man, even when I was out there, in the streets trying to get this money, I didn't have this feeling, and that was insane because I be trying to teach these kids all the time. They're like, oh, I'm a baller, I'm gonna do this, I make this much money. And then I'm like, okay, show me how many stamps you have on your passport if you really make money. You know what I mean? And
Come on.
so it was a different feeling. So I'm there, and we went to an all-white affair. True story. I didn't even know we were gonna have an all-white affair after the seminar. So I had to run across the street to a Steve Madden store, and I bought all white because we were going to Club Nicky. That's all I know. People were like, "Oh, at the event, we're gonna go to Club Nicky. It's an all-white affair." So I ran across the street. I bought all white. I bought some white shoes that I only wore for that night. Never seen them all again because where I woke up at, I didn't have my shoes on or my shirt. So. Yeah. So I'm there, and I want to go learn what these people are doing. I met Donald Trump. I met Les Brown. I met Everett Robinson.
You went to a real white party, bro.
No. But I met E.T. at the event. I met E.T. I met Les Brown. I met Tony Roberts, Robert Kiyosaki. I met all these motivational speakers. I met all these rich people. I met some. They were giving so much information. I was just in love with everything that I'm seeing. Something I've never felt in my life before. And so we all went to Nikki Beach. But I found out that Nikki Club was a beach. It was a club on a beach. So I'm there at the bar, right? I'm at the bar, and I met a good friend of mine who became my mentor, right?
Okay.
So I'm sitting at the bar, and two stools down from me, the guy's like, toast to finance, toast to the market, toast, and I'm like, that's what I came to learn, right? So I look over, I'm like, toast, and I was like, I saw you. He was like, yeah, I saw you. So we started talking, and I kid you not, HD, I blanked out. I'm not going to lie. I blanked out. I was lit. This guy was buying shots like there was no tomorrow. And I woke up on a 4-story yacht, glass elevator, helicopter pad. And I got up and I'm like, where the hell am I? How did I get here? And he's like...
You woke up on a yacht? 4-story yacht?
Yeah. So his name is Wayne Watson, right? So he was like going crazy. And I'm like, what? And he's like, Johnny, you're insane. You're not. I love you, Johnny. Oh, man, we got to do this again, man. Everyone has such an amazing time. Your energy, your vibe, it's different. You know what I mean? Because these are people for money. They wear super colors. And I come from the streets, but I want to get into this world. So I still have a different type of energy than them. So, a few months down the line, he invites me to go to New York. So, we're staying at the Millennium Hotel. He's like, oh, you got a room, blah, blah, meet me down in the lobby. So I meet him down in the lobby. He gets upset. To make sure, he gets upset because I didn't check in because he had already got me the room. So I meet him in the lobby. He's like, we're going out to brunch. All right, cool. I go, and I know I'm meeting business people. First time I've ever wore a suit. I don't like wearing suits. I like being me. We go to this little cafe. It's an outside view. We're right there. We got the Wall Street Bull down the street. I want to go take pictures with the Wall Street Bull because they say if you touch the bull, you'll be successful in the market, right? So we sit down and this guy comes through. He has his blue suit, his flag, his pendant. I'm like, oh man, who's this guy? He introduces me. He's like, this is my dad. I was like, hey, Watson Sr. And I found out that his dad was the chairman of Wall Street Capital. This is what I was reading. This is what I was reading while I was on vacation. Man, listen, I was over the moon. I think I've only said like maybe 2 words that whole time we were having brunch. Like nothing came out. And I'm a very spoken person, right? But I can speak because I'm starstruck. Like I don't know who this guy is, but I know that he works in Wall Street and he's a chairman at Wall Street Capital. And he was talking about, how he was paying out minimum bonuses for entry-level people that, analyze the market. He was like, oh, I gave this guy, $10.1 million a bonus this year. I gave this guy, $12.8 billion bonus this year. And I'm like, this is what I want. This is what I want. But, long story short, I started doing it on my own. Even though I was learning, I did it on my own. I love trading. I still trade to this day. Yeah. Lost some, win some, stacked money, started other businesses. In 2018, moving forward a little bit, 2019, I started my own digital marketing agency.
Okay, tell me about that. What's digital marketing?
So digital marketing is a company that reaches out to other companies, either large, medium, or small, or mom and pop joints, right? What we do is help you get found. We help you get that exposure you need on the online space, because without being online, you're not going to get the exposure you need. So, we create campaigns, funnel systems, email lists, email responders. We help you with your SEO. We help you with your Google AdWords. We help you with your keywords. We help you find that space between you and the clients that you're looking for. Right. So I did that back in 2019, and I was really good at it. I love marketing. I love helping people succeed. I love helping people say, hey, Johnny, guess what? I got 13 new customers today, and they all said they came through the website. It made me feel good, because I've been through tons and tons of companies, and a lot of them I made money. A lot of them I made no money. A lot of them I failed, but I failed because God told me to fail. To be honest, God just wanted me to learn. He was like, Johnny, you're going to this company, but you're not going to be successful over there, because I just need you to learn something over there, So everything I learned, everything I took, I launched the company, and then COVID hit. And, you got a point in life where you have a company, you have to decide, okay, what do I do? And sometimes you have to say, we're going to just take it off the table, because everybody wanted to do digital marketing when COVID hit. Everyone wanted to work from home, right? I let it go, because it's either, listen, I keep continuing to pay for my applications, keep continuing to pay for my software, and now these guys are underballing and charging low amounts of money, where I'm not going to be able to eat, because I'm just breaking even every time I create a campaign for a company. So I let it go. And one day I was searching online, and I saw a company about Forex. You already know I'm in love with Forex. I'm like, what? So I joined that company, and it failed. It failed. Yeah, it failed. But so I started working. I'll be honest with you, I started working. I was a transportation supervisor for the largest newspaper industry in New England. Okay. I had 152 employees I was in charge of. And in the 3 years that I was there,
that was logistics, like UPS, FedEx, something like that.
Yeah, that was but it was a newspaper industry. We were delivering the newspapers to big branches, stores, retail stores, and whatnot. We printed newspapers like Providence Journal, Boston Globe, and papers like, yeah.
So you were talking to the guys who were the ones that delivered the newspaper, put them in the bins.
Yeah. I ran a crew. I ran a crew of 152 people. Let me tell you, I'm so dope as a boss. I did not lose. Well, I did. I lost 2 people, but I didn't lose people because the job was bad or they had rough conditions. I lost 2 people because they got sick. But just imagine that, I had 152 people that looked up to me for 3 years straight and said, Johnny, I'm sticking with you.
Let me ask you a question, Johnny. With you saying that, man, I get the feeling, man, that God really has his hand on you. Tell me about your upbringing. Were you always a Christian? I know you alluded to your parents had different focuses when you're a child, and because of that, as we started off, you talked about knowing different couches or whatever. Tell me about your upbringing. At what point did you learn about the Lord, and how did that affect your life?
So I learned about God many years ago as a little kid, and that's why I never gave up hope on life. Because like I said, my aunt, she was a preacher, and I saw her preach at a stadium, and so many people gathered to hear her speak about a person called Jesus Christ, right? Wow. So many people came, and it was hundreds and thousands of people. And as a little kid, I'm looking around, and I'm like, this guy's powerful. This guy is powerful because he's not even here, and his name is so strong that it gathered the masses to come hear his word. So I fell in love with Jesus many years ago. He's been part of my life, even through my rough teenager years, even through, my early 20s, even through my vacation time. I always keep one of these around. You know what I mean? Because, because
have you ever felt led to a particular business or anything because of your relationship with the Lord?
I put God first in everything that I do.
Okay.
So all the businesses that I do, I put that first. So that's why if they work or if they don't fail, I always say that. Okay, I look up and I'm like, okay, God, it's your call. You know what I mean? Because I put it first. But moving forward to now, I'm going to speak about now. Can I speak about 2025?
Man, talk to me, man. What you doing these days?
Let me tell you about 2025. All right? So in the beginning of the year, my notebook is probably upstairs. So in the beginning of the year, I buy a notebook, right? See the board? Yeah. I don't do vision boards. I don't do a vision board. I do a vision notebook. And I start with how I'm going to end the year. Who am I at the end of the year? What do I have at the end of the year? How did I get here? And I goal it down. What goal did I do to get here? What steps did I do to get here? What steps do I do to get here? Right? So in the beginning of the year, I wrote in a notebook. It's probably way upstairs in the bedroom. I put 2025 is the year of Noah's Ark. Okay?
Okay.
Books. I got, I'm financially set. We're happy. My family's happy. I'm all set. I'm good. What am I going to do this year? I'm going to help people. Right? So 2025 is the year of Noah's Ark to help people.
Yes.
First week of January 2nd, my mentor, one of my good brothers, my friend, he calls me up. Now I did the Forex business with him back in 2020, right? 2021.
Okay.
When I failed. So he calls me up and he's like, Johnny, do you remember the twins? I already knew who he was talking about. I said, absolutely. He goes, they're starting a company. I was on the phone and I said, Guy Sean, just send me the link. Just send me the link. Because number one, I've been waiting for this phone call. Feeling it inside that I need to do something bigger and better this year. Number two, I know the people he's talking about. And number three, I trust him with all my heart. Right?
Okay.
So I said, John, just send me the link. Right?
Yeah.
Then we had that first Zoom meeting. And the first Zoom meeting was, let's do this one more time. I was like, oh, God, let's go.
Talk about that, because I didn't actually find out until March.
Yeah, so we had what's called the One More Time movement. And, these are for people that's been through other companies that gave up on digital marketing, that gave up on working from home, that gave up on trying to find a different source of income. These are the people that feel it inside, that are just like me and all these entrepreneurs out here that know that we are meant for more and want to do this one more time, right? So that was it. And I was like, okay. Then we had our second Zoom meeting. Now, I kid you not, HD, they put a flyer on Facebook, right? And it said, State of the Union. Everyone needs to be on this call. The image was Noah's Ark. I almost flipped my desk and I looked up, right? And I
you got a print out of that, man?
Listen, it was crazy. It was crazy. I felt it inside like God was really talking to me, because in the beginning I said 2025 is going to be the year of Noah's Ark. We're going to help people.
Yeah.
Then a guy that I trust with all my heart talks about a company that's coming. I don't know the name. I don't know the price range, but they drop an image of Noah's Ark, digital Noah's Ark, to take people to the promised land. HD, I'm not going to lie. I dropped to my knees and I was like, God, this is it. This is it. And you know what the name of the company is? Vibe. Visualize your breakthrough. What I like to say, visualize your blessings. When I started digging deep, and I was like, what is the product? What is the product? I'm reaching out to people. I'm like, what is the product? Like, I know the people that are involved. And I had to sit back and God spoke to me and God was like, what is my greatest creation? And I said, what's your greatest creation? The human being. We were created in your image.
Amen.
So the Y in Vibe stands for you. And you are our product. And it's crazy that people forgot through years and centuries of living in this world that we're in today that we were created in His image. So we created a platform. Vibe created a platform that is not only going to teach you every financial sector in the world that they don't teach in school. They're going to make sure that they teach you and help you find what your purpose is. You know what? And it's super simple because in Vibe, and excuse me if I get excited because I love Vibe. But
No,
Vibe,
man, you got my full attention. You're giving me the backstory. I didn't even get that before.
listen, we do three things in Vibe. Simple. We do three things in Vibe. We help you find your purpose. We discover what your purpose is, right? Because everyone's created with a purpose, right? So if we can help you discover what your purpose is and align that with your passion, it says in the Bible that once your purpose is aligned with your passion, your bag of silver and gold will overflow and never have holes and stay filled. So we need to bring people back to a stage that if you find what your purpose is, you're going to be financially okay. You know, we want to give people that feeling that Noah and his family had when the dove came back with the olive leaf, right? And I told you not too long ago that when they saw that olive leaf, that green leaf, they got excited because they knew that the promised land was right around the corner. But we live in an age nowadays that the green that we're looking for is money. Unfortunately, that's the promised land to a lot of people. What does the promise look like? It looks like saying yes to your babies. It looks like saying, yes, I can afford this. It looks like saying I can do whatever I want to do, what I could do whenever I want to do because I can do it. That's what yes. And that's what the promised land looks like for people today. You know what I mean? So we help you discover, then we develop that. We develop that into a business model. We take that and turn it into something, a course, an ebook, a software, an app, whatever it might be. And then we do our last part. We demonstrate it through the world. Because without the world, without eyes, without views, it's just like the digital marketing I did many years ago. Without the people, you won't be successful. You won't make that money, right?
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
So let's say I know a young lady, and she grew up in the inner city, and she has she went to school, she worked in corporate Canada, she did all this single mom, and she went back to school because she got tired of the corporate environment, and she went ahead and learned how to write her business plans, and she has all these business plans, and she don't know where to start. How would you guys be able to help her if she just got 100 different business plans? Because she went back to school 2 years ago because they were promising her that if she took their courses, they were going to get her to the point where she's ready to pitch her entrepreneurship not platform, but her business. And they were promising that the top kids were going to be able to go on Shark Tank or Dragon's Den. And at the end, all the people did at that program was jacked everyone's business plans and literally kept the names the same and launched all these kids' businesses. What would you say to someone like that who's worried about this platform going, how do they know this is not going to do the same thing?
Easy. And it won't even take me a lot to convince this person. If I had that young lady in front of me right now, I would look her in the eyes and I'll say, let me ask you a question. Did they put God first? Was that built off of principles? Was that God's promises or their promises?
Wow.
It's super simple. You see, because HD, what I want you to know is that people want to create without involving the creator. People want to heal without involving the healer. People want to live life without involving the person that created life. And the thing about Vibe, let me tell you, the thing about Vibe is that we brung the healer. We brung the creator. We brung the author. We brung the person that carves your road to your destiny. And we brung the person that wrote your story. And that's why other companies fail. Because they want to succeed in life, but don't seek the person that can help them succeed. And we bring that in Vibe. Because in Vibe, our product is the human. It's you, God's greatest product. That's why we are doing better than most companies out here now. Because if it's not aligned with God's principles on how to live on this world, if it's not coming with the blueprint, then it's not going to work. I'm going to put the blueprint in the blueprint.
So let me ask you this. I've had some people who are concerned about the fact that they go, hey, man, how's this different than any other network marketing and MLM company, HD? I know you made money. I was one of those guys who in the first 6 weeks of Big Five Salads, God blessed me to be driving a company-paid black BMW. I didn't have as much faith as the people around me. So instead of getting the X5 and the Big Body 7, I said, well, I don't know these companies and owners from nowhere. They're trying to give me a BMW in 6 weeks. So I took the 325i convertible rims and all that. But a lot of my friends, they balled out, got the, the X5 and the 7 Series. What's the difference, would you say, with Vibe and these other direct sales companies? Because, a lot of people don't like when they hear that Vibe has a direct sales attached to it.
Okay. I'm going to close this door real quick. All right. So here's the thing. Direct sales is direct sales. At the end of the day, anything you want in life comes with a sale attached to it. Everything comes with a sale tag on it, right? And most millionaires in this world come through direct sale businesses. And as you move further in that, when you buy water at the store, did you buy the water because you were thirsty? Absolutely. What kind of water did you buy, though? Depends on which one stick out the most to you. Which one is going to give you the best electrolytes? Which one, looks better? But at the end of the day, you wouldn't have chose that bottle of water if it wasn't for a sale that you saw. So sales is behind everything in life. When you go for a job interview, right, you have to sell yourself to this job. But before you sell yourself to this job, they sell you through the application process because they describe what the job is going to be. So they're selling you the job for you to go and sell yourself to them. So sales is in everything. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's deep, man. So now how does this work? Because you're saying if you're the product, how are they connecting you as the product to a direct sales company? I guess there's some confusion there for a lot of people too sometimes.
Okay. So we live in a world that unfortunately people do not. What's the verse I'm looking for? 2 Corinthians, right? 5:7 says, walk by faith and not by sight, right? So we live in a world that people want what they see, right? They're not the type to see what's not visible. They want what they see. So if we can take a human being and teach them every single way on how to make money on planet Earth, right? Like every single way to make money, right? People want what they see. So you become the product because now you're living the life you want to live. Now you're taking pictures and you're on vacation in islands you only see in the Discovery Channel with your children. Now you're doing whatever you want, whenever you want to do. And people are attracted to that, right? So people buy what they see. So you become the product because we aligned you with your purpose that God gave you when you were created, turned it into a business model. Now you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars a month, and people want that.
So say, I'll give you an example. When my best friend Jerome Jack approached me, he was like, HD, man, I want you to take a look at this platform. He said, because I want you to put that book that you wrote on this platform. That's what you mean by when you talk about us being our own product, because it's like I wrote the book, so now that's the product that you're saying that they're going to develop, and I'm just going to.
Yeah. So you see, and that's the icing of the cake. Honestly, when people talk to me about Vibe, there's a process that I go through. But that's the icing of the cake, And if you're a numbers guy, like I'm a numbers guy, right? They allow you to be co-creative. We're a co-creation business, right? Because we live in a co-creating world. So let's say you create a book, right? Let's say a book. We're going to use a book as an example. Ebooks are one of the easiest things to make in this world, which we teach you on how to create ebooks through our AI courses. So let's say you create.
So hold on, stop you. Let's stop a second. So with your AI course on Vibe, you can teach people how to go and write their own ebook too?
Absolutely. There's so many things back there. There's so many things back there in Vibe, right? So we teach people how to create courses. We teach people how to make ebooks. We even teach people how to make apps, right? So you create a $20 ebook, right? We're going to put you in a platform. Now, our Vibe Globe, it's a super app inside of a super app, right? And inside of the super app, hundreds of thousands of entrepreneurs, millionaires, billionaires, from brand new to seasoned to anybody that wants to co-create, right? So you got a $20 book. Law of marketing, law of sales, right, is 3 out of 10. So 3 out of 10 people you introduce your book to are going to buy your book, right? That's just the law of numbers. So if we take your $20 book and we put it in a platform, which we already have, of 100, let's say 100,000 people, right? Because we're in a super app, that's in the super app. 100,000 people, 30% of 100,000 people buy your $20 book. You just made $750,000, my friend. You made $600,000, and there's people right now that go to school and get more degrees than a thermometer that are scrubbing floors in a hospital bathroom and don't even come close to making $70,000 a year. And we're going to teach you how to make up to $600,000 with a $20 ebook in a month, $600,000. But those are the perks. Those are like little gifts that we give to you for becoming your own product. You know what I mean? Those are the things inside a Vibe that people are going to be like, aha, like, wait, I knew that I can do this. I knew that I can create. I knew that I could learn the foreign exchange market. I know that I could learn how to, buy a crypto coin or how to create a crypto coin, how to move a meme coin, how to go from decentralized wallet to decentralized wallet to get interest in it. I learned how to do sports betting. I learned how to do AI marketing. I learned how to do targeted marketing. I learned how to do so many things back here that they don't teach you in school. And I could also sell on the platform. Come on now. God is good. And when you put God first, he shows up and shows off. Remember that.
You got my mind blown on the fact that
absolutely.
On top of you having this book, so you can basically take these classes and then turn around and write a book to sell to your environment who might not know nothing about Forex, crypto, NFTs.
Exactly.
And then you could probably even teach a course. So you can have the book and the course from what you just learned in class.
Yep. And put it in our platform and make money from it. While you're getting closer to God. Don't forget that. Because that's the most important part. That's the most important part. It's the why, the you. Right?
Okay. I'm blown away, man. Wow.
So that's what I'm doing in 2025. I'm focusing on really finding who people are supposed to be. Helping them align themselves with their passion and their purpose. Showing them that, you don't have to continue to punch a clock, and trade the most valuable thing you have, which is your time, for money. And people won't understand that. And I want to get to them before it's too late. Because what people say the most, and when they're old and they're in a deathbed and they're sitting there, the number one word that they say is, I regret not doing this. I regret giving my time to this person. I regret staying at this job for this long. Right? There's too many people here giving the most valuable thing we have to something that's not going to bring us value, even if it's to our pocket or to our soul. You got to understand that when it comes to doing God's work, the devil is just as smart, because he will send people to stop you. He will send opportunities that look nice and shiny, but they're not. He will send someone there to hold you back from being who you're supposed to be. So I'm trying to reach these people before it's too late, because I see so many people in broken relationships that they can't get out until something drastic happens. And they're like, listen, I lost so many years in this relationship, and where am I now? I have nothing to show for it. I don't have no money saved up, and I'm starting from zero again. Right? I know so many people that's been in jobs and that don't become the boss, the head honcho, the capitan, nothing, because in order to go up ranks at a job, somebody's got to die, get sick, or get fired. And you waste 4 years chasing a check that can't even afford to pay 2 generations of your family down.
So I only got 1 minute. I only got 1 minute left, man. And I want to ask you a question, man.
Go for it.
Knowing what you know now, the life you lived, if you were between the age of 20 and 25 years of age, what would you do different to talk to if you were that age right now today, with what you know now, with all the opportunities out there?
What would I do different?
Yeah. What would your advice be to those young guys out there these days with all the technology, AI on the rise, all sorts of platforms out there? Like, what would your advice be to them, man? Old people tell you, go get a good job and, you get a good pension, go work for the government.
I would say, and honestly, this is what I would do. I would walk around with a microphone and say the most powerful thing you have is your voice. Use it. Because everyone that makes multi-million dollars in this world, they got there because they had a voice. And in school, they teach you not to use your voice. Raise your hand before you can talk. And anybody that's made an impact in this world talks. So I would walk around and I would tell people, listen, use your voice. Become who you're supposed to become. Don't let people stop you. Don't let people stop you from hearing what you have to say.
Man, that's powerful. Well, you know what? I know I'm definitely going to have you on here again, man. It's been a pleasure, man. You filled me up, and, we're just starting to get to know each other. I'm looking forward to being able to travel around the world with you and to do this more often, to be able to just share, opportunity of God, faith, finances, and freedom. And that's what this platform here of, Give Me Freedom is all about. I just want to thank you for taking the time to go live with me today. And, man, I look forward to part 2, man. I don't want this to be just a one-time thing with us, man.
Oh, man, listen, let's work on it so we can get on the big stage together.
Come on. Well, I appreciate it, man. I want to give a shout out, show much love to Mr. Jonathan Moreno. And guess what, man? Tomorrow we're going to be doing an interview with Matthew Plant. And then on Tuesday, we're going to be doing an interview in which I told you it's going to be the secret pimp from Montreal who went from pimping on the street to going ahead and preaching in the platform. It's going to be an awesome week. But you know what? Make sure everyone, you guys send much love to Jonathan Moreno. And don't worry, I'm going to go ahead and take this recording. It's going to be on all 4 of my platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Make sure you share this with everyone you know, because as you know, Jonathan Moreno just gave you the secret sauce, and that's why he's the big boss. I'm H.D. Rhodes. Thank you so much, Johnny.
Hey, thank you. Love you. God bless you. Listen.
Hey, man, God bless you. I'm out.
All right.